Hey guys, so today is story time. I don't usually do videos like this, but I feel like it's something that's maybe a little bit important. So if you're a guy, I really encourage you to listen to this. If you're a gal and you've got a man in your life that you care about, it might be worth listening to. I'm going to share the story of this winter where I made a decision that caused a failure. What could be learned from that? And I think it's a valuable lesson, and I guess I just wanted you guys to hear it. So, backstory on me, if you don't know, my name is Andrew, and I've got some other videos. Most of them are not like this. For the past 7 years or so, I've been in an outdoor program for young men, Christian outdoor program called Trail Life USA, and I've been troop master for part of that, and some other roles as well. But hanging out with young men, which I thoroughly enjoy, and I love the outdoors. Well versed in, being outdoors and survival and survivalist kind of stuff and hunting. I'm not very good at hunting or fishing, but I sure enjoy it. So what happened is our high school group called Adventurers, what they're called, had a trip planned January of this year, and it was a snowshoeing trip. So the plan was to snowshoe in about 6 miles to a cabin and spend a couple nights back there and enjoying everything that winter in Montana has to offer. Below freezing temperatures, plenty of snow, all that kind of stuff. So about snowshoes, did some test run. We built our own sleds to haul our stuff with, and just a lot of things. And I appreciate, and the leaders that worked together to make that trip happen, because it was pretty awesome. So the day of the trip came, and we headed in. It's about 6 miles. The trail was groomed. It's a snowmobile. Well, it's a road, but in the winter they close it to wheeled vehicles, tracked vehicles, or sleds only. So it's a snowmobile trail, technically. So we hiked in. If you know me personally, you know that I'm not a very fast hiker. Relatively slow, and that's okay. So made it out there, spent the night in this Forest Service cabin, which was amazing. Next day we packed some day stuff, some food and water, and hiked a couple miles in, snowshoed a couple miles in. It snowed over the night, so it was good. The trail probably had 8 inches, maybe a foot of fresh powder. It was beautiful. And worked on some fire stuff, because all men like to light fires. And so we worked on the skill of lighting fire and cooking some food. Single digits, maybe 12 degrees, 10, 12 degrees Fahrenheit. Deep snow, deep powder. At one point I took off my snowshoes and instantly was in up to my waist in snow. So if you've never done that before, it's a challenge. I loved it. Lighting a fire, even with good stuff, is in the weather like that, it's hard. So anyhow, it's a great challenge. So I headed back to the cabin after lunch, and that's where things kind of got sideways for me. We had planned on having 2 days. and there was a mix-up in the scheduling for the cabin. So, we got back mid-afternoon. I want to say 3 o'clock, maybe 4 o'clock, probably 3 o'clock, to the cabin, started getting firewood ready for the night and all that kind of stuff. And the next group that was to rent it that following night, they showed up. So, it was our mistake, and we began to get things ready. The group was gracious. They're like, yeah, get your stuff together. And so we started to get our stuff together, and the leaders made some food, and we encouraged the boys, drink lots of water, hydrate well, electrolytes, all that kind of stuff, and eat some food, get some nutrition. So we're 6 miles in. It was just about starting to get dark as we were leaving. That's probably not true. Probably an hour before sundown as we were headed out. And in typical Andrew fashion, I'm the last one packed, I'm the last one done. Worried about everybody else, taking care of the kids, making sure, taking care of the young men. These are high school boys, so they're very capable, but and that's the moment I made some mistakes. I didn't take electrolytes. I didn't hydrate well enough. I didn't have extra water packed, accessible. I only ate a couple bites of food. And so we started to head back, and get on the trail. Soon it starts to get dark. Again, it just had a bunch of snow. It's starting to get dark. It's windy. The trail's very well marked, so it wasn't like that. It wasn't a concern, but blown over pretty bad. So it's a lot more work to get out than it was getting in. And it wasn't a mile and a half, maybe 2 miles in or so, and I realized that I was not doing super good physically. So good radios. I was in the back, and radioed to the group in the front and told them, I'm lagging pretty bad. Told them what mile marker I was at, and they're like, oh, we're 2 miles in front of you already. And so that was disheartening, of course, and started to get a little bit concerned, but I just told them I'm just gonna be slow. I'll be there. Don't worry about me, etc. And continued on, and wasn't another half mile when the logic part of me took over, and I realized that I was probably in bad shape. And looking at the mile markers and the time, realized that I wasn't gonna make it out on my own in any reasonable time, and maybe not even that night. So a little bit sobering for sure. I'm a pretty stubborn guy, and I think I can do anything. But my body was giving up. I couldn't lift my legs, and it was probably hydration and electric lights stemmed from that issue. And my water had froze pretty quickly. I was carrying a clear, smart water bottle or whatever, and it just froze. And granted, I could have stopped, or I had fire materials and cook stove and all that kind of stuff, but so I had to keep on going, and radioed ahead again, and told the other two leaders that were up there, or the one that got the call, and that I was in bad shape, and I in fairness didn't feel like I was going to be able to make it out without some physical help. So that's a hard message to radio ahead. admitting your failure and not giving up, but admitting that you weren't in a place to complete the task. So he said, well, we're only a mile. I think he was a mile from the truck at that point in time, mile and a half. So we're gonna get the kids to the truck. We're cold, we're wet. We'll get the truck started, and we'll come back and get you. And so that's kind of what the plan was. And then it went silent, and that was it, right? But I knew that Will had told me that, and I trust Will. He's a good man. So just continued on, and one step at a time. And it was quite some time later, and I was my footsteps were maybe 8 inches, not even a full step in front of the next step. It was dark, and I was physically in a place that was really, really dangerous, actually. So started to see headlamps, coming back towards me. And that was about the 3 mile marker for me. So Will and Gabe had got the kids to the truck, and then unloaded the sleds and brought one sled back. And they loaded me on that one sled, and they loaded my, and then the other person took my sled full of gear, and proceeded to drag my 200-pound broken, worn out, damaged self out of that, off the mountain, basically. So again, 3 miles back, they traded back and forth. One guy would tow me until he was worn out, and then the other guy would tow me. And humbling humbling for sure. And it was my own fault. I made a mistake, but my brothers, my friends, they didn't come at me and harass me or make fun of me or berate me or belittle me. They just came alongside me in my moment of failure and did what needed to be done to lift me up out of that point of failure. Probably half a mile or so from the trucks and the trailmen saw the headlights, and they dashed down the trail to drag me back the rest of the way. My legs were so goofed up I couldn't lift my legs to get into the truck to drive home. I had to lift them physically with my hands. I had to pick up my pant leg. So that's how broken I was. The question, gentlemen, is this: why? Why bother to tell a story that's an embarrassing part of my life? And the reason is because I want to share failures and successes. And I want you guys to know that surrounding yourself with friends who will lift you up in your moment of mistake, moment of failure, the moment where your steps are 8 inches in front of each other. Friends that will lift you up in that moment mean a lot. And I want to encourage anybody who's made it this far to find friends that will do that for you. And then on the flip side, to be the friend that will do that for the people around them. Because, and I'm not talking about good-natured harassing and I saw a thing the other day that said if nobody's harassing you at work, they don't like you. And that's probably true. Yeah, that's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about, in a moment of actual failure and allowing your, being in that position that you have friends around you that will encourage you and lift you up and help you work through, and that you also you would commit to being the friend that does that also. So that's my story. I will never not drink electrolytes again. I will always have those on hand, use them, and that's not what it's about. The key is to be who God's called you to be, and to lift each other up to the man that God's called you to be. So join together as brothers and be stronger because of that. So made it this far. I encourage you to share this with somebody that might get value out of it. This is not what most of my videos are, but I felt like this was a story that I probably needed to share to you guys. So I'm almost to my destination. I need to grab some 10mm at the shooting store, and because I'm going shooting with some friends this weekend. So there you go. Thanks for watching. God bless.